on 19 keys, and this is high level conversation. The library.
How does one find the right one and keep them?
That's a very deep question. It seems to be complicated, but it's not as complicated as it is. There's a verse in the Holy Quran that pretty much says that God is a matchmaker. It's found in the 24th chapter of the Quran, the 32nd verse, and it tells us how to find a mate. It says, marry those among you and those who are fit for you. So there's two things you're looking for. You're looking for somebody that has the same faith you have, but also has to be your flavor. Too many times we get one or the other. Somebody got my faith, but they not my flavor. Or somebody got my flavor, but they don't have my faith. And if you do, you're going to be unequally yoked. You'll be attached to something, a person and something else, and they'll be going the opposite direction, and they won't help you, they'll hurt you. So in it goes on to say, and if you cannot find that mate, keep chase until Allah blesses you out of his grace with a spouse. That's the matchmaker part. So the suggestion is really focus on being the kind of mate that matches your definition of the ideal woman for you as a man, or the ideal man for you as a woman. You got your picture. What does the ideal man look like to you, sister? Okay. What would his wife look like? What would be her characteristics and qualities if she's going to be a match and a mate for? What would be that match? Work on being that, and you'll find that if you work on being that by the magnetic power of the electrochemical energy of your mind, match with God himself, being a matchmaker, he'll bless you with that spouse and vice versa. So you don't have to put in the energy to chase him down. You really just have to put in your energy to become the one that's supposed to be with that one.
Yeah.
And he's going to give you that one.
You know, in today's time, the generations to come and the generation now, and maybe in generation before us, really don't believe in marriage anymore.
Yeah.
Right? I like to flip the stat on people where they say 50% of marriages don't work out, but they're not telling, well, 50% of marriages do work out.
Right.
But we always focus on the bad side because it validates, right, our resistance that we have towards the institution of marriage in the first place. What would be your counseling to the generation that is so apprehensive, right, to marriage?
Yeah.
And part of it is because we live in such a chaotic world, right, to where there's an insecurity, right, of finding this real thing, this right thing. Right. There's all these, so-called gender wars and complaints and conversations that muddy up a person's clean thinking towards it.
Right.
So it's no longer the animated series that we have towards, marriage or fairy tale endings.
Right.
Now it's the podcast of the feuds and the issues and problems and the divorce lawyers and the settlements and all of that's in the mind that says, man, I ain't doing that.
Yeah. And that's the goal of the enemy. See, remember, if we look back, brothers and sisters, there's always been an attack on the black family. When they first came and kidnapped us from Africa, when we first got on the slave ships, the ceiling of the slave ships that they stacked us in was only 8 inches tall. We were shoulder to shoulder with an 8-inch ceiling laying on our backs on a 9,000-mile journey that would take 3 months. They did not feed us with food with a plate. They put slop through the cracks of the floor and water through the cracks of the floor, and we had to lean over and get it. But what they did that was so treacherous, you had husbands, wives here, and their children way down there. They couldn't get to their children, so they would hear their babies taking their last cry. That's an attack on the family. We get to America because they couldn't break us the first batch. They killed off all the adults, spared the young. Another attack on the family. The young grow up. Guess what they are told? It's illegal to marry each other. No, you don't marry and become no husband and father. You don't marry, become a wife and a mother. You will become a slave producer and you will become my stud. So they took a man from one plantation, a woman from another, put them in a horse stable, made them mate with each other. That's an attack on the black family. So the enemy has always knew that the real power base of the original people has always been our family life. The minister said like this, where there's no strong marriages, you can't have a strong family. Where there's no strong families, you can't have a strong community. And where there's no strong community, you can't have a strong nation of people. Marriage then becomes the cornerstone of all nation building. Look on the pyramid Giza, the last living wonder of the world. It's 451 feet tall, goes down into the earth 451 feet deep, covers 13.5 acres of land, made of 1 million stones of gold, marble, and granite, each stone stacked mathematically precise, north to south, up in the air, down in the earth, east to west, not even deviate 1 square inch because they had the mathematics of the mind. That's what they had. They had the mathematics, and they used telepathy. It wasn't no bulldozer, it wasn't no John Deere, it wasn't no crane. It was the mind that put them stones in place like that. But on those walls, you'll go in there and you'll see Osiris, and next to him, it looked like somebody been scratching whatever used to be there. You'll see the male Alafun scrapings next to him. You see the male Asa, bunch of scrapings next to him. Guess who used to be? Osiris. Isis used to be with Osiris. That was his wife. Alafun used to have Ilida, his queen, right next to him. And then Osai used to have Aset. They scraped the image off because they knew that if we ever looked in there, we would see, oh man, every great one we had that we called a god had a queen with him.
Parent.
So now you look at Willie Lynch, 1712. This is after slavery. We still in slavery, but this is after 1555, after the big collapse and destroying the old and sparing the young. He says we put the male against the female, and we put the female into an independent, frozen psychological state by never allowing her to have a man that will provide and protect her. So that becomes the foundation for why the media acronym, most effective devil in America. That's the reason why they want to make sure that we stay divided as families, because they know our power base is there.
This damn product right here got too much stuff in it. It got black seed oil, got cannabinoids, it got lion's mane, and it's 1,000 milligrams, right? It's an ounce of black seed oil, got MCT oil, 1 ounce, 0.5 grams of lion's mane powder. I think that's too much. This right here have your brain super focused and charged all damn day. I took this and I was working from the beginning of the day literally to midnight. Now I got a lot of stuff done, but I shouldn't have been that charged up. I don't think that the products should work that well. So I don't think that you should take this if you don't want to get a lot of stuff done throughout the whole day, because everything in here is amazing for you, but I think it's too much ingredients. I feel like you're supposed to take that kind of stuff where it give you a little charge and it had you smooth throughout the day, but not like where you just going and going and going and going. I guess the good part about it is everything is natural and everything is good for you, and it's probably the best thing you can put in your system. But beyond that, unless you got a lot of work to get done throughout that day and you want your mind to be relaxed and you just going supercharged all day long, don't take Supermind. That's my suggestion.
I'm 19 Keys, and this is High Level Conversation.